The first time Zylith walked into the garage, I knew I was in trouble. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but because she had that look on her face, the one where her four eyes widened, her antennae twitched, and her bioluminescent skin flickered a shade of deep violet. It was the universal sign of, what in the 7 galaxies is that? I was elbow deep in my latest project, a modified plasma cutter I'd been tinkering with for weeks. The garage was my sanctuary, a place where I could let my human ingenuity run wild. Tools lined the walls, half-finished gadgets cluttered the workbench, and in the corner sat my pride and joy, a fully functional, human-built exosuit. It wasn't much by galactic standards. Most species had moved on to nanotech or energy-based enhancements, but it was mine, built from scrap and sheer determination. Zylith, my alien roommate, was a Xenthari, a species known for their advanced technology and stoic demeanor. She'd been assigned to Earth as part of an interspecies cultural exchange program, and I'd volunteered to host her. At first, she'd been polite but distant, treating me with the kind of detached curiosity one might show a particularly interesting lab specimen. But now, as she stood in the doorway of my garage, her usual composure was slipping. "What is that?" she asked, her voice a melodic hum that always reminded me of wind chimes. She pointed a slender, 3-fingered hand at the exosuit. "Oh, that?" I wiped my hands on a rag and tried to play it cool. "Just something I've been working on. It's not much, really." "Not much?" Her antennae twitched again, and her skin shifted to a brighter shade of violet. "That is a fully articulated exosuit. Built by hand. By a human." I shrugged. "Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not perfect. The power source is a bit finicky, and the joints could use some work, but it gets the job done." Zylith stepped closer, her movements graceful and deliberate. She circled the exosuit, her eyes scanning every inch of it. I could see the gears turning in her head, the way her expression shifted from disbelief to something resembling awe. "This is remarkable," she said finally. "Your species is supposed to be primitive, barely capable of interstellar travel. And yet, you've built this. Without any assistance from more advanced civilizations." I chuckled. "Well, we humans are pretty stubborn. If we can't buy it, we'll build it. And if we can't build it, we'll jury-rig something that kinda works." She turned to me, her eyes narrowing slightly. "You are full of surprises, human." Over the next few weeks, Zylith became a regular presence in the garage. At first, she just observed, asking questions about my tools and techniques. But soon, she started offering suggestions, small tweaks to improve efficiency, ways to optimize the exosuit's power consumption. Her knowledge was staggering, and I quickly realized that she was holding back, trying not to overwhelm me with her advanced understanding of technology. One evening, as we worked side by side, I decided to push her a little. "You know, you don't have to dumb it down for me. I can handle the big words." She paused, her hands hovering over a circuit board. "I do not wish to insult you. Your technology is quaint. But it is impressive in its own way." I grinned. "Quaint, huh? Well, let's see what you've got. Show me something not quaint." For a moment, she hesitated. Then, with a flick of her wrist, she pulled a small device from her belt. It was no bigger than a credit card, but when she activated it, a holographic interface sprang to life, displaying a complex web of data. "This is a standard Xenthari diagnostic tool," she explained. "It can analyze any piece of technology and provide a detailed breakdown of its components and functions." I whistled. "That's handy. Mind if I take a look?" She handed it to me, and I held it up to the exosuit. The holographic display lit up with a flood of information, everything from the tensile strength of the materials to the energy output of the power core. It was like seeing my creation through new eyes. "This is incredible," I said. "But it's also a little depressing. I mean, you guys have tech like this, and we're still using wrenches and duct tape." Zylith's skin flickered a soft blue, a sign of amusement. "Do not underestimate the value of ingenuity. Your species has a unique ability to create something from nothing. That is a skill even the most advanced civilizations lack." Her words stuck with me. For all our flaws, humans had a knack for innovation, for pushing boundaries and defying expectations. And maybe, just maybe, that was something the galaxy needed. As the weeks turned into months, Zylith and I became an unlikely team. She taught me about Xenthari technology, and I showed her the joys of human improvisation. Together, we upgraded the exosuit, incorporating elements of both our worlds. It was no longer just a human creation, it was a symbol of what could be achieved when two very different species work together. The day we finished the final modifications, Zylith stood back and admired our handiwork. "It is impressive," she said, her voice tinged with pride. "Yeah," I agreed. "But it's not just about the suit, is it? It's about what it represents." She nodded, her antennae twitching in agreement. "Perhaps there is hope for your species after all, human." I laughed. "Don't sound so surprised. We're full of surprises, remember?" And as we stood there, surrounded by the fruits of our collaboration, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Not just in what we'd built, but in the bond we'd formed. Zylith had come to Earth expecting to teach, but in the end, she'd learned just as much from me. And that, I realized, was the true power of humanity. Not our technology, not our ingenuity, but our ability to connect, to bridge the gap between worlds and create something greater than the sum of its parts. As Zylith would say, it was remarkable.